know what's going on, bro. There's a battle that I'm having. I think it's a spiritual battle because I've been trying to set up this live for the past hour, and nothing has worked. There's no sound. The links don't work. This and that and the third. So I feel like it's an attack up against me, so that I don't bring this out to the community, because what I'm about to talk about, it pertains to the spiritual awakening of humanity today, right? So the information that I'm going to present, I'm going to share in the spirit of the Most High, in the spirit of wisdom, pertains to that, pertains to the great awakening of the inner man of each human on this planet. So, but anyway, Shalom. Let me know if you brothers can hear me, yes or no. Shalom. Let me share. Let me share the link again. All right, I guess you brothers can hear me. So, anyways, let's continue. Perfect. All right, Shalom Yashra. Live. Give me a minute. Let me go back to the to the to the motherboard. Shalom. Perfect. All right. Perfect. Shalom. All right. Shalom Yashra. Welcome to the live. Happy Friday, man. Finally, after 1 hour, me battling these demons, these spiritual forces out in the, in the fields, in the spiritual realms, because they don't want me to bring this out to the community, because what I'm gonna bring out, it pertains again. It goes back to the great awakening of humanity at our subconscious level, right here in the mind, to free yourselves from all the dogmas and the chains that have kept humanity enslaved for thousands of years, right? So, anyways, Shalom, welcome to the live. Thank you for being here. I'm gonna share the link in the comment section for brothers. Share the link, or you can click in and bring yourself in. So, but anyways, let me see. All right, so we are live. We are live. Perfect. Julian Gonzalez. Shalom, bro. Welcome to the live. Let me see. All right, I'm glad this is working out, bro. Perfect. Yeah, we're gonna get started in a minute, so stick around. I'm gonna wait for more brothers to come in, and then we're gonna bring it out. Jisha, if you wanna read for me, bro, if you got time now, that will be great. Again, I'm gonna share the link in the comment section, so you can brothers can come in, click on it, and bring yourselves in. You know what I'm saying? So, but welcome to the shows. Hang tight. I'm a little late because again I was having issues with the system and whatever. I'll explain in a minute, so stick around. Okay, perfect. So, shalom, shalom, everybody. Shalom. Welcome to the live. Let me share the link. Oh, let's go. Uh, all right, perfect. All right, so the link is in the description area. When I get back to the house, I'm getting stuff from my boss right now. That's all right, bro. That's okay, man. Do you think? Do you think? Don't worry about it. All right, everybody. Welcome to the live. Once again, I was saying earlier that I was having issues for the past hour trying to set this up because I'm gonna bring out a really powerful lesson for anybody that's gonna join a little bit later regarding the great awakening of humanity. Basically, it pertains to all of that. So, um, give me a minute. All right, all right, brothers. Like I said, the link is in the description area for any of you brothers that wanna join, talk with us, or anybody that's interested in reading for me. That would be great. Jose Vega, if you're there, bro. Quickly an hour late. I'm gonna set this up for the past last hour, and it's almost like an attack, like a spiritual attack, just coming at the system. Like the cell phone didn't work, the signal went all the way to zero. I tried like a few times to go live, and there was no sound. And so it's basically like I feel like it's an attack on me, on the system, because the information that I'm gonna bring out is really powerful, bro. It pertains to the spiritual freedom of many, right? And so this is the marking, this is the time right now, today, right? These circles, or they also call it the feast of, right? Why? Because it's basically the end of the harvest, right? You everything that you sown in the spiritual realm, everything that you have planted in the spiritual realm, well, this is the harvest, right? This is the ingathering of that harvest. And whatever harvest, whatever seed you planted is what you're going to reap, right? That's many people call it the karma, the law of the heavens, or the divine law, whatever, karma, right? Well, what you sow into the ground is what you're going to reap, right? The feast of ingatherings, But so yeah, so it pertains to that. It pertains to the harvesting of whatever we have sown in the spiritual realms. Just like we sow plants and seeds into the ground of the earth, that is the same concept that we use when we sow seeds in the spiritual realms, right? There's a ground, there's a soil in the spiritual realms in which you plant certain seeds, and those seeds sprung forth life, death, curses, whatever the like, right? But anyway, Shalom, welcome to the live. The link is in the description area. Brothers can click on it and bring yourselves in. Help us out to spread this out to the community, especially the things that we have already brought out regarding Canaan and whatever the like. But anyway, Shalom. Welcome to the life. Again, the link is in the description area for anybody that wants to click on it and bring yourselves in. We're going to start in a little bit. I'm just going to wait a few more minutes for brothers to come in so that we can start this beautiful class that I prepared for you guys in the spirit of the Most High, in the spirit of truth, in the spirit of wisdom, in the spirit of heavenly wisdom that comes from above, not the wisdom that comes from this planet, because the wisdom that comes from this planet is basically limited. You learn knowledge, sometimes wisdom, through various teachers on this planet, uh, you know, sages or whatever you want to call them. You learn things in school, but even that knowledge in school is limited. Even that knowledge in school is basically tampered with, because a lot of the things that they teach you, they're half truths and half lies, anyways. At the end of the day, so that also pertains to the so-called truth that is being spoken of today in these religions, all the religions of the world, including one West, and their Hermetic teachings, doctrines, and all the camps that teach the same thing at the end of the day. So all of them are getting called out and whatever like. But again, there's a higher wisdom that brothers, maybe a lot of brothers are not aware of, and that's the wisdom that the Most High gives to those who ask. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm gonna bring out in the spirit of truth. I have a beautiful lesson regarding the initiation process that takes place on this planet while we on this plane of existence, when we are alive and breathing. So, but Shalom, let me see. I'm gonna share our YouTube channel to the various groups, so brothers can come in. Shalom, welcome to the live. We're gonna start in a little bit, so just give me a minute, give me a second, and we'll get it started. Shalom. Like I said, I'm gonna post the link in the comment section. For brothers that are coming in or interested in helping me out to read, that will be great. I'll really appreciate it. Other than that, I'll read for myself. But welcome to the live. But yeah, man. Yeah, but before we start, we have this thing going on. Let me see. Okay. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Let me set this up because there's some weird stuff. All right. Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, let me share why I was laughing for. Give me a minute. All right. Okay. Save. Yeah. Hold on. Give me a minute. Let me share these in the various groups that we have on Facebook, and then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna get it started. So stick around. Thanks for being patient, man. Crazy. Okay. Perfect. All right. Perfect, man. Welcome to live, everybody. It's your brother Shamar with Ancient Watchman. Welcome to Friday Night, MaYaM. Let's see. I heard a sound. Anyways, the link is in the comment section. Any brothers that want to come in, help me out, help me to read. You want to be a scribe tonight? Let me know. I would really appreciate it. I appreciate the help. Other than that, again, I can read for myself. But anyways, let me just say this real quick, right? The debate. I don't know if you brothers noticed the debate. There's a very famous fly. There's a very famous fly that got famous overnight all throughout the world, bro. All throughout the world, this fly became famous overnight. Yeah, so I'm talking about the fly that was on Pence's head, the vice president, right? During that debate that she has, that he did, that he had with like Kamala Harris, whatever the like. Yeah, man. So again, that there's a lot of posts that a lot of people share regarding like the meaning behind the flight and whatever the like. But we know that in the scriptures there is a demon called Beelzebub, which is basically the lord of the flies, or the lord of flight, or the lord of the power of flight, or whatever the like, or the lord of the flies, like actual insects. So, but yeah, that was interesting. A lot of people are saying that it could be like a little nano robot that was sitting on Pence's head to like read what he was gonna say through wave vibrations, frequencies, or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of theories out there. So at the end of the day, it's not the first time it's happened. It's happened it happened with Hillary, and it happened with Obama, the Hamite, right? But I thought it was really funny. Shalom, Julian Gonzalez, Shalom, bro. Welcome to the live. Welcome to the live, everybody. So yeah, man. So let me get started. But again, welcome to the live. Again, I appreciate it, brothers, being here. I'm about to bring out, really interesting subject for people to meditate on. You know what I'm saying? And last time when I said, like, I think it was last podcast that we had, I said, listen, I'm going to do an initiation class on next Friday coming up. if you don't want to be initiated, if you don't want to be here, then don't show up. So now I get why many brothers haven't showed up or didn't want to didn't want to come to the podcast tonight because of that, I believe. But yeah, I don't know, man. Let me see. Yeah, I don't see no request from nobody. But again, the link is in the description area for any brothers that wanna come in and read for me. Other than that, I'm about to start. Shalom. Okay, perfect. Oh man. Whew. Okay, let me see. Okay. All right. So again, this is an initiation class into the mysteries of the New Testament, and these mysteries pertain to the Great Awakening of the spiritual man within. In order for us to elevate ourselves from the fallen states in which we're in today, right? It goes back to the laws. At the end of the day, it goes back to the illumination of the laws, because the law is what? The laws are basically the light source that comes from the creators, like the Elohim, the Elohim, and that law basically illuminates our path, just like we read in Psalms 119, I believe, when it talks about the words are like a lamp unto my feet, right? So basically, that's what it all goes to. It goes back to the illumination that goes to the laws, right? But Shalom, who is this guest? Shalom, who is this?
Yeshai.
Ishai, man. Shalom, man. Welcome to the live.
Shalom. I can't read right now yet. I'm in a car riding, but when I get back to the house, I'll be happy to read.
Awesome, man. Thank you. I really appreciate it, bro. Thank you very much. So yeah. But anyways, welcome to live, everybody. I don't know if Yisha, you want to blow the trumpet before we start. That would be great.
That's at the house. I apologize.
What was that?
The trumpet's at the house.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, man. So yeah, man. So that's basically what we're gonna touch upon today. In a minute. All right, yeah, perfect.
The trumpet's at the house.
Oh, okay, Shalom, Shalom.
Okay,
Welcome to the live, bro.
Yeah, man. So that's basically what we're gonna touch upon today in a minute. Oh my God.
Someone's got a bad echo.
Yeah, you got an echo, brother. I took you out of the panel because you have an echo. So, anyways, welcome to the live, everybody. Friday night, MaYaM. Again, we send out the invitation to our people, brothers that have wisdom, understanding. You having given a dream, a vision. You got a vision. You got a word of wisdom that you want to share with the community. You have a testimony that you want to share with the community. This is your platform. Come here, teach. You want to teach. Again, you have a word of wisdom to the community. You have a word of vision, a dream, a prophetic dream that you have that is being given to you. Go ahead and bring it out. I see a lot of brothers and sisters on Facebook sharing their dreams and prophetic dreams. I always invite, listen, if you want to share that, because whatever dreams that are being flowing within the mind subconscious of the people today all throughout the world pertains to what is really going on in the world, right? That's basically why our subconscious selves are picking up on all these vibrations that of an impending future. And the impending future is the prophecies that we read in the book of Apocalypse of the destruction of the planet, the purging, and whatever the like, which is kind of gonna go into the initiation process of the inner man.
I had a dream about 5 years ago, if I may talk about it.
Yeah, well, not now, brother, not now. Again, I sent the invitation before, so again, I told you, brothers, let me know throughout the week if you're interested. You brothers have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days to prepare yourselves to bring out whatever that you want to bring out, take notes or whatever, like me. You see that on my notes. So, and that's for everybody else. Once you let me know on Thursday, brother, I got something I want to share. Whatever, fine, teach. This is your platform too. Brothers are welcome here to teach. You need 30 minutes, 40, an hour, 3 hours is right there. This is what we do these lives for. But anyway, so today is the class will be the initiation process. So let me know if you're ready, Yishai, so you can read.
I will.
So you can read.
Uh, Raya,
I hear me, brother.
there's an echo, bro.
Bro. So you can
Yeah, turn your TV off.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna take him out, bro, because I don't want to be disrupting this whole thing because we're gonna take too long. But you let me know when you're ready, bro. So the first scripture that I need will be it'll be John 19:19.
I did say, okay, when I get back to the house, but while other people listening that want to join the panel, they can't have their TV on when they're trying to get on their microphone to talk on here, because when they
Right,
speak, it bounces off the TV and it makes a big cycle and echo.
right. Exactly. So, all right, man. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start it. So maybe when you get home, you help me out. But let me see. Oh, all right. 75.
You
All right.
said
So
John
first scripture that
16.
we was that.
You 16?
Are you able to read? Yes or no? Because I'm confused. You said you can't read until you get to the house.
Only because I get motion sickness. I can read off from the blue letter, but yeah, what is it, John?
Nah, I'm confused, brother. You can read or you cannot read.
I'll read. I can read.
Uh, okay. All right, man. So okay, so you can read. All right, because I wanna go through this quickly because there's a lot of things I want to bring out. So we're gonna start with John 19:19. Again, welcome
19.
to the live. This is an initiation class into the mysteries of the New Testament that pertains to helping our people elevating their minds, right? Elevating your soul. What does that mean? What does that entail? What does it take for us to actually elevate ourselves from the spiritual state that our people are in today? Right? And the spiritual states that our people are in today is a poor state. Why? Because our people are still being brainwashed. Our people are still following doctrines of men. Our people are still trusting in following gods, following spirits, following lords, and these leaders that are basically being inspired to create these doctrines based on deception, right? So all of that plus the things that they've been watching and the people, the humans that are being programmed for thousands of years by regenerating certain codes and messages within the subconscious self and the conscious self of the people, and this is why people are automatic today. They're automatic with a lot of things that they believe, the things that they say, and stuff because they can't get out of that box. They're in a box. But we're gonna touch a little bit on that concept of our people being incarcerated in these boxes, right? So, but anyways, we're gonna start with John 19:19.
John 19 and 19. And Pilate wrote a title and
I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. So I'm gonna read for myself because it's crazy that there's literally a spiritual attack on my life today. Again, I was on a chat group on Facebook, and you got like a lot of brothers, and I'm sure you brothers know who I'm talking about. A lot of brothers just coming up against me, just saying that we're boasting ourselves. A lot of these brothers have called Jose Vega a monkey and a Canaanite because he has, somewhat Hamitic features according to them, and they were basically bullying him because he has woolly hair and so on and so forth. So I told him like, listen, you can't tell me that our people didn't mix with Hamites because we did, right? We did mix with Hamites. I mean, going back to Joseph, right? The Pharaoh, the second in command, our brother Joseph. What was he? Who did he marry? He married an Egyptian woman. So if he married an Egyptian woman, guess what his children are gonna look like? They're gonna have somewhat Hamitic features from that Egyptian woman, right? The Hamite woman. Exactly. So So what are these brothers talking about? Jose Vega saying, well, he has Canaanite features or African features, this and that and the third. When at the end of the day, there there's African looking Israelites amongst ourselves. Why? Because our people mixed in with them. This is why we have the law of Ezra, right? When he basically uh, uh, created this vow, wrote this contract, this vow system according to law, and share with the people. Listen, there's a lot of our women that have married Canaanites and Egyptians and so on and so forth. We're gonna put them away, and everybody agreed, right? Why? Because they had married Canaanites, Egyptians, Hamites, and have brought these children that are half breeds, right? Half Hamite, half Israelite. So why are these brothers saying, "Oh, Jose Vega looks like a Canaanite, this and that and third"? Like, that is insane and absurd and ignorant, at the same time. So, but anyways, we're gonna start John 19:19. It says, "And Pilate wrote a title and put it on the cross." Right. So there's a title that Pilate, right, the Roman, put on the cross on top of it, right up here. You see it up here, right? It says, and the writing was, Jesus of Yeshua of Nazareth, the King of the Jews, right? Obviously, we know that this phrase was not written in English or French or Spanish. It was written in Greek, right? So that's what we're gonna talk about. Let me see. Um, Give me a minute. Jisha, you there, bro? Yeah, you're there. Okay, got you. Jisha, you there, bro?
Can you hear me? Oh, now you can hear
Yeah,
me. When I was
much
reading,
better.
you didn't hear me.
Yeah, much better, bro. Much better. But yeah, Pilate wrote on the cross on top of Christ's head, you know, Joshua, King Joshua of Nazareth, King of the Jews. Right now, we know that scripture, that phrase, was not written in English or Spanish or French. It was written in Latin. Now, let me see. You can prepare with Matthew. Let's see, Matthew 13:10-11. So again, the general meaning of INRI. You brothers know what I'm talking about? The INRI. I'm
Did
gonna
you
write it
say
down.
Matthew 13? Can you hear me?
Matthew 13:10-11. All right. You see that? Oh,
Yeah.
my bad. Hold on. All right. So basically, this is the phrase that was written on top of the cross of Christ, right? Like right here. I mean INRI, right? INRI. Now, those basically, the general concept of that, or the general meaning behind INRI. Let me see. Mute your mic, brother. When you're ready, I mute your mic. All right. All right. Perfect. All right. So the general meaning behind INRI, which in English would be Joshua of Nazareth, King of the Jews. Now in the Latin, it reads like this: Jesus Nazarenus, Iudeo eorum, right? Iudeum eorum. Hold on, bro. Hold on. Okay. All right. Perfect. I'll bring you in when you're ready to read. Just hang tight, bro, because there's like a background noise from your side. I don't know what's going on. So anyway, so the meaning in the way you read it in the Latin is Jesus Nazarenus Iudeo Orum, right? Which means, or translates to, Joshua of Nazareth, King of the Jews, right? Now, this is basically the basic understanding of it, right? That's what everybody knows. The whole world knows this, right? But the esoteric meaning reads, Igne Tura Renovatur Integra, right? Which translates to by fire, our nature is perfectly renewed. You see that? So that will be the esoteric meaning behind Jesus Nazarenus, Judeorum, Judaerum, which translates Joshua the Nazareth, King of the Jews. But the esoteric understanding behind those words, INRI, is Igne Natura Renovatur Integra, right? Now let's break this word. Let's break these words down, right? Each and one of them, because again, Spanish, French, Italian, even English, all these languages, Portuguese, all these languages come from the Romanian Latin languages. So a lot of the things that we just read right now, like the esoteric understanding behind INRI, it sounds similar to Spanish. And you brothers, those who speak Spanish are going to catch it. Now watch. The letter I, igne, basically that's basically kind of your root when you say the word ignition, to ignite, right? To burn. Basically, that's basically what it means. Fire. It symbolizes fire, ignition, to ignite, right? It says so. Igne natura. Natura is basically nature or naturaleza in Spanish, right? So igne natura, right? Igne natura renovatur. Now, renovatur means renovation, right? It's very similar, bro. This is why Latin, a lot of people who speak Spanish or French or Italian, you brothers are going to be able to catch certain phrases of the Latin language, so on and so forth. So, igne natura renovatur, or renovation or rebirth, right? And it says integra, like integral, like the whole thing, wholly, right? Completely. That's basically what it means. So, which we know that translates to by fire, our nature is perfectly renewed, right? Now, this esoteric translation refers to the process of the alchemical purification, right, within us all. The cleansing that happens at a mental, emotional, spiritual level within us. But again, we're gonna dive into all of that. We're gonna use the scriptures to also prove all of it, right? So again, by fire, our nature is perfectly renewed. Ne natura renovatur integra, right? This esoteric translation refers to the process of the alchemical purification within us all. It means to crucify ourselves, then resurrect on the third day. Each one of those days represents each of the three baptisms, right? And so that's basically what we're going to dive into. We're going to dive into the three. Hold on, give me a minute. All right. All right. So basically, again, we're gonna dive into the three baptisms, right? The three baptisms, the 3 days, right? In which, again, remember when Christ died, where was he for 3 days and 3 nights, right? That's the question. That's basically another subject in itself, because in other manuscripts, ancient manuscripts, like basically the Gnostic writings, you read that Christ, when he basically died, he descended to the lower realms to preach the gospel or the good news to the spirits of all the people from Noah, all the fallen angels, all the angels, and everybody else that was back in ancient times prior to Christ. So, but not only that, he also ascended to the other various dimensions. Again, I'm saying, paraphrasing these things because I read it, I have brought it out. Well, I haven't brought it out, but I showed it to certain brothers, and I have the books. You can actually buy it. It's called the Gnostic Scrolls or whatever the like, which basically were found almost at the same time that the DSS were found, right? Same concept, same thing, and it's called the Nag Hammadi Scrolls or Nag Hammadi writings. But anyway, so again, the igne natura renovatur integra, it translates to by fire our nature is perfectly renewed, right? And so that's basically what Christ went through. Again, we're gonna dive into in a minute. So Christ went through the same thing. He went through the three baptisms, which is the baptism of fire. We have the crucifying of himself, and then the resurrection, which is basically the 3 days, and in the deeper meaning behind Christ's crucifixion, or when he died. So All right, so let's dive into it. So this is basically the way we can elevate ourselves. This is the manner in which we can elevate our minds, cleanse our spirit, cleanse our soul, purify our souls, and basically offer up ourselves as an offering to the Elohim or the Elohim, right? So we're gonna dive into all of that. So the three baptisms, right? We're gonna start with the baptism of fire again, going back to the I.N.R.I, which means Igne Natura Renovatura Integra, which means by fire our nature is perfectly renewed. Our nature means the body, right? So by fire. So we're gonna dive into the baptism of fire first, right? So this is one of the first process in which humans are able to experience the fire, right? And what is the fire? What are the characteristics of fire? What does fire teach us, right? That's the thing, because we learn certain lessons, various lessons of different scales and vibrations and frequencies, while we look at nature. When we look at nature in its various forms, whether it be the animal kingdom, whether it be the amphibian, or the birds, or the mammals, right, or the trees or vegetation, or jungles, or desert, or the seas, or the ocean, right? So there's a lot of lessons that we can actually learn from each other. This is why we can't be proud to say, well, we have knowledge, but we don't want to share it, or we're better than you. Because at the end of the day, this whole concept, this whole idea, this whole grid is connected to the source, right? And so the information is always flowing from one place to another. And sometimes a lot of people block themselves, just like the Pharisees. Remember Christ said, like, you guys have the keys of knowledge, and all this wisdom, and you shut the doors or the gates of the kingdom, but you yourselves don't enter in, right? Why? Because a lot of the Pharisees, the so-called Levites from during Christ's time, um, they were basically doing that. They were shutting the gates of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to the rest of the people, and they kept it for themselves, right? That's basically what was going on, and this is why Christ had to come in. But so by fire, so Christ's life himself, Christ's dying on the cross, is basically a concept that goes back to the purification of the mind and the soul, right? And our spiritual walk and our journey on this planet. That's basically what it's going into. So we're gonna learn of the baptism of fire, right? So Matthew 3:11. We're gonna read Matthew 3:11. Matthew 3:11. All right. All right, Matthew 3, chapter 11, it says, I indeed baptize you with water unto repentance, but he that cometh after me is mightier than I, whose shoes I am not worthy to bear. He shall baptize you with the Holy Ghost and with fire. You see? So that's John the Baptist basically saying was not on the level of Christ, that Christ came from a generation, and he's basically more powerful than I am. I'm not even, I can't even compare it to even wear his shoes, meaning wear all the things that he was gonna experience and the journey that he was gonna take part of and walk through that journey. And we know what journey was Christ. Christ had a crazy journey. A lot of the Pharisees wanted to kill him all the time. He was being plotted against. He was being conspired against, just like all the Judaizers from before. Everybody conspiring against Christ, the king, right? One of the kings of Judah, and so on and so forth. So it's the same thing that happened throughout the ages. So imagine that, and then imagine at the end of the day being killed off on the cross like a martyr, right? And his death basically resembles and teaches us various lessons of how to elevate ourselves, which is what? Going through the fire. And just like John the Baptist said, he shall baptize you with the Holy Ghost and with fire, right? So we're going to dive into the fire, because fire is basically all the issues that we go through in life, all the hardships, all the situations that bring us to a lower state, right? A lower state throughout our lives and our journey. Whether you lose your job, whether you lost your wife, whether you were sick, or you don't have a car anymore, your car broke down, you don't have money. There's various levels of a fire. fire burns in different stages and heights, throughout. So no fire is the same. Every fire is different, has its own footprint. It has its own handprint or whatever, fingerprint or whatever. Yeah, fingerprint. So everybody's fire is different. Everybody's baptism of fire is going to be different. It's going to look different as well. So Isaiah chapter 4, verse 4, it says, um, when the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. You see, the spirit of burning, which goes into being purged, right? Because like all the lands on the planet are gonna get purged. Let's see. Randy Torres, Shalom, brother. Welcome to the live. Yeah, welcome to the live, everybody. Stick around. We have a beautiful lesson. Okay. All right. Shalom, everybody. Welcome to the live. So, yeah. So, Isaiah 4:4 is talking about the purging through blood, because all the lands on the planet, there's going to be purging of blood also, because, again, it goes back to the law. Like, whoever sheds blood is going to be shed on that land or whatever. So, everybody's guilty. You know what I'm saying? So, that's going to be the purging. But also, another system of purging or cleansing or purification is basically by the spirit of burning or by the spirit of fire, right? Because fire purifies. So, we know that Isaiah chapter 4, verse 4 is basically talking about Nebuchadnezzar coming to Zion and burning the cities, burning the temple, and taking a lot of the kingdom of Judah captive to Babylon for 70 years, right? So, but not before all the cities of Judah were basically burned up. And that's basically what happened in, 597 BC, when Nebuchadnezzar basically besieged the city of Jerusalem and basically burned it all down. As a matter of fact, let's prove it. All right, let's prove that. All right, let's see right there. All right, so we're gonna go into Second Kings chapter 25. All right, so chapter 25, verse 8 and 9, it says, and in the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, which is the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nabuzaradan, captain of the guard, a servant of the king of Babylon, which is Nebuchadnezzar, unto Jerusalem. And he burned the house of the Lord, and the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, and every great man's house burned he with fire. You see, so fire burns, fire purifies, and that's basically what we read in Isaiah chapter 4, verse 4, when it says, when the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, right, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. And this is exactly what happened during the times of Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar did all this, and this is why I'm against a lot of brothers using Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1 through 4, to say, well, see, this is the scripture for you to prove that you can get many wives. That's not what I was talking about. It's not talking about you getting wives here. Why? Because Jerusalem was being invaded. A lot of the men of war were being killed off, right? And so because a lot of the men of war were being killed off, guess what? There was less men and more women, right? The ratio was 1:4 or whatever, right? 1 woman, 4 men. So a lot of these women wanted to feel protected. So guess what? They basically went, they didn't have no choice, and went ahead and became wives by default, right? Not because that was the law that was being enforced then, and this is why a lot of brothers use Isaiah 4 to prove their false doctrine of, oh, this is a scripture to get many wives. Look, it says in that day, what is it? Yeah, and in the days 7 women shall take hold of 1 man. You see how you can get 7 wives? You need to get 7 wives. That's not what it's saying. Again, I already explained it. So, going back to proving more on the scriptures of the burning of Babylon and being left desolate, we can read it in Jeremiah 39:8, Jeremiah 52 verse 13, Amos 2:5, right? So now we're still in the baptism of fire, right? So now going back to what I was bringing out in the beginning, the whole meaning behind INRI or I.N.R.I, which means Igne natura renovatur integra, which means by fire our nature is perfectly renewed. So ourselves, all of us, we have to go through the fire, just like our people in Jerusalem went through the fire when the Babylonians came in and burned it all down. Now, I'm not saying that we have to put ourselves through the literal of fire, right? Because we're gonna dive into the concept of being put through the fire and what it really means, right? So, but I'm starting from the carnal side, and then we're gonna dive into the spiritual side of it, of what fire is, right? Because fire consumes. So, igne natura renovatur integra. By fire, our nature is perfectly renewed. So that's how we renew ourselves, through the fire. So let's dive in. The book of Zechariah 13:9. Zechariah 13:9. All right, the book of Zechariah 13, verse 9, it says, "And I will bring the third part through the fire." See that? "And I will refine them as silver is refined, and I will try them as gold is tried." You see? You see that? So this was happening during the times of the Babylonians. It was fulfilled then. Again, this is not another teaching or another doctrine that I see a lot of brothers still pushing out, that they learned it from One West, saying, "Oh yeah, you're the 1/3, you're the 2/3, and whatever they like." That's not what it's saying, because the 1/3 and the 2/3 already happened back during the Babylonian invasion, right? That again, Jeremiah 39:8, Jeremiah 52:13, Amos 2:5, it explains it all there. How our people, Zechariah chapter 5 is the proof of what we just read. Zechariah chapter 5, 1 through 7 or 9 or 8 is the proof of what I just read. So our people was put through the fire in order to be refined, in order to be tried, like gold is tried in the furnace, right? So we're basically being compared as gold rocks that have not been formed. Why? Because there's still roughness around us. We're still going through this fleshy self, full of carnal desires and sins and whatever the like. So all those terrestrial desires on this plane of existence is the ones that weigh us down, right? That's basically what was weighing us down. All the covering of ourselves, which we are the gold. So you have rock, a sediment all around us. Why? Because we haven't not been put to the fire, and a lot being put to the fire today, right? A lot of you brothers are being put through the fire. So yeah, but yeah, man. So that's basically what it is. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and I will refine them as silver is refined, and I will try them as gold is tried. You see, and we are going to be tried. Like this is the concept of trials and tribulations. That's basically what it's saying. That the trying part is going into all of that, the issues, circumstances in life, falling to a low state. It's all of that, right? It's basically what human beings have to go through in order for them to be refined, like gold is refined, right? In order for you to move to the next level, in order for you to be, a piece in the cabinet, and in the jewelry places, right? When you go to a jewelry store to look at rings or necklaces of gold or whatever, they're already shiny, they're refined as gold, right? Because they went through the process, right? But they wouldn't not been there if it wasn't for their purifying, and the refining through the fire, or being put through the fire, right? So before we get to step 2, we have to go through step 1. So that's basically what it's going into. Let's go to John 5:35. Yeah, John 5:35. Yeah, I don't know, Ephraim. I don't know where Jose Vega is. The link is in the description area. Maybe he fell asleep. But I don't know, brother. If you want to come in and you want to help me read, go ahead, bro. Let me know. I'm going to share the link. Give me a minute. Welcome to the live, everybody. Shalom. Yeah, we're going to continue to dive into the scriptures. Just give me a minute. Shalom, Yashar. Welcome to the live. Give me a minute. I'm going to share the link in the comment section. So any brothers that want to come in and help me out to read, or you want to share something later on when we finish the lesson, you're more than welcome. So there you go. Okay. All right. All right. Shalom, Yashra. Welcome to the live. Jishai, Shalom, bro. Yeah, so the link is in in the comment section. You brothers can click in and bring yourselves in if you want to, share something later on. You got questions, you want to talk about something, you want to talk about a doctrine that you teach or whatever, like that's what we're here for. To edify ourselves, edify one another, sharpen each other's sword, just like iron sharpens iron. So, yeah, man. G-Shot, you there, bro? All right, I don't know. G-Shot, you there, bro?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, perfect. All right, you want to read or no?
What do you got? What do you need?
We're gonna go to John 5:35. Give me a minute. 5:35. Yeah. Before you go there, go to Sirach 2:5. Right. So we were talking about Zechariah 13:9 when it talks about 1/3 will be put through the fire in order for us to be refined. Right. So we know that fire is basically what refines and makes gold shiny. Right. It has a brilliancy to it. It has light. Right. So again, it goes back to the idea or the concept that we will not be able to shine. Right. The light within us will not be able to shine unless we go through the fire, unless we are put through the fire or some sort of furnace in which there's fire that purifies ourselves, right? Because we are the rocks that have not been worked, right? We are the unquarried stones that are gold, basically, but we're so rough around the edges and so on that we're not ready yet. We're not shining. So the very concept of being put through the fire is the idea that when we put through the fire is what allows us to actually shine. Is what allows our inner light to actually shine forth to the outside world, to those who are in darkness. So
It's
gonna
like a gem being put into a rock being put into a rock tumbler, and it tumbles around and it gets shined up. All
right.
like you were saying, all the great sages and everything, they all went through great trials and tribulations to get the way they are. It didn't just come automatically.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's exactly what Christ was. Christ was the very concept of that idea. Again, the whole idea behind INRI, which means Igne Natura Renovatur Integra. By fire, our nature is perfectly renewed, right? So in order for us to refine our nature, which is, what is our nature? Our nature is divine beings. We're not from this plane of existence. We're not from this planet. We are spiritual beings that came to this planet to either learn a lesson, to either wake up others, wake up ourselves, so we may wake up others that are also in that predicament of sleep for eons and times and thousands of years on this planet. So by the system of reincarnation that was put by these the fallen angels, these gods, these archons, whatever you want to call them, governors of ancient times. So that's why we are here, right? And so Christ was that very same concept. By fire, our nature, right, which is our spiritual being, is perfectly renewed, is perfectly reawakened, resurrected, right? And so we know that the esoteric translation refers to the process of the alchemical purification that happens within a soul at the levels, at the spiritual levels, at the subconscious level, at the emotional level as well, right? Which it means to crucify ourselves, then resurrect on the third day. Each of those 3 days symbolizes or represents the three baptisms, and the one that we're learning on is basically the baptism of fire for those who are just coming in. So the book of Sirach, chapter 2, verse 5, brother, if you have that.
Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter 2, verse 5. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
You see, an acceptable man in the furnace of trials and tribulations and being put through the fire, right? That's the concept of ourselves. Basically, our nature is being refined by fire, right? By fire, our nature is being perfectly renewed. Igne natura renovatur integra. That's basically what it means. So again, these are concepts that we need to learn and actually get, because if we go through these trials and tribulations and hardships and whatever the like, this fire, right, and it's burning our soul, our mind, we losing our minds and whatever the like, and we start complaining, then what lessons are we learning? What lessons are we learning if we actually don't able to let go of ourselves within the fire and let fire do his thing or her thing, right? Fire, let it do his thing, right? Which is what? To purify ourselves from all the impurities that is, that had clung onto ourselves, onto our minds, all throughout the ages, right? All the genetic memory and the spiritual memory that is within us, that is being passed down from generation to generation. That's basically what it goes when we read in the law, which says, your fathers and the third, the second, the third, and the fourth generation of those who hate me or whatever, right? Well, that's basically what I just said. That's basically the cycle of genetic information being passed down to the next generation, up to the next generation and stuff, right? Because those are genetic memories at a spiritual level. Do you understand? So there is certain behaviors that are passed down via spirit, via spirit, or via genetic, sharing systems, right? So that's what it says. I will visit the first, second, third, fourth, five generation, whatever. So that's the concept. So so we become acceptable in the furnace of adversity, in the furnace of fire. Other than
When
that,
you were talking about complaining. Well, all the children of Israel, how many were there that got taken out of slavery, and they started complaining? And how many of them were left at the end? Two or three?
Only two.
Yeah, because they didn't. Those are the only two that didn't complain.
Right, Joshua and Caleb. I mean,
and they started prophesying in the midst of the camp because they weren't in a state of complaint. They were going through the trials and tribulations with courage and heart and with a clear mind.
Exactly, man. Basically, exactly. So we have to learn. We have to learn how to comply with the fire. We have to learn how to let go, bro. When we're in the midst of that fire, because that fire is gonna do his or her thing, regardless whether you like it or not. It's gonna either burn you all the way down and turn you into ashes, or it's gonna burn you and basically take all the impurities out. So, Isaiah 48 verse 10. Yeah.
Isaiah 48, verse 10.
Verse 10.
Behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction.
You see that? So in the furnace of affliction, in the furnace of adversity, in the furnace of problems and issues and all the things that you can think of that are negative, in that furnace, that's where we are chosen, right? That's basically what it read. That in that furnace of adversity, that's where the gods, they have a window in this timeline in which they're watching, they're seeing, oh, wow, he went through it. Yeah, he jumped through it. So in that furnace of adversity is literally when we are chosen. Now, Isaiah 48:10, the word chosen there is H977, which means Bahar, which means to try, to select, to choose, to join, and to require. You see, in order to ask ourselves to be joined back to the source, to be chosen, and to be selected, we have to be tried, and it's also required. That's basically what it means. The word chosen means bahar, which means all of that. To require all these, right? To be chosen in order to join ourselves back to the source. That's basically what it's going into. So that's the refining process in order for us to be chosen, to be selected, to do what? To do the various missions that you guys were sent to do here on this planet, right? And then it's not just one mission. There's various missions, spiritual missions that everybody was sent to onto this planet in order to teach humanity, in order to elevate humanity, in order to free humanity from the bondage of the false gods and priests, high priests, and lords, and so on and so forth, right? So that's why. From there, let's go to Psalms 12:6.
Psalms chapter 12, verse 6. The words of Yahweh are pure words, as silver tried in a furnace of earth, purified 7 times.
You see that? So 7 times. So we are also purified 7 times. Remember, like Mosai said, listen, if you don't do this, you don't do that, I'm gonna put you through 7 captivities. Right? So ourselves, we are that goal, bro, that has been put through the fire 7 times. Meaning what? Meaning seven captivities throughout the ages. That's our fire, bro. All these right here that we're suffering, and all the hell that we're going through because we are at a low state. We have invaders in our land. Our people got indoctrinated. Our people got enslaved. Our land was stolen and occupied. It's still under occupation today for the past 500 years. This is the last. What would you call it? The last furnace. The seventh time in which we are going to be in the fire, in the furnace of adversity. Why? Because we need to be tried in it. Well, our trying process has taken 7 captivities, right? 7 captivities in order for us to actually be refined and purified. Why? Because now, today, is the time of remembrance. We have to remind ourselves who we are, right? That's why we had to go through those 7 captivities in order for us to be renewed and processed. I don't know if you can find the scripture, the one that talks about us being sent into 7 captivities. I don't know, it's in the law, but if you can find it, that's fine. Other than that, let's see.
There's another one that says a righteous man shall fall 7 times.
Right. Yeah, bring it out. Yeah, exactly. That scripture.
I don't know the exact scripture.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean that's also a beautiful scripture because we have fallen 7 times, right? 7 captivities we have gone through, and in those 7 captivities are 7 furnaces of adversity, 7 trying processes for us to be bahar, to be tried, to be chosen, to join ourselves. Why? Because all of that is required from us in order to be what? Acceptable. Just like we read it in Isaiah 48 verse 10. So 7 times, 7 captivities. And this is our last one. This is the 7th furnace of adversity in which we are going to come out refined as gold in order for us to be accepted, right? So Psalm 66 verse 10.
Well, and you said Psalm 66?
Yeah, 66 verse 10.
Verse 10. For thou, O Elohim, has proved us. Thou hast tried us as silver is tried.
I was getting water, bro. Sorry. All right. Yeah, man. So see again, the Mosai is trying us. This is the Mosai is doing. This is the Alahayim, the gods, the Elohim doing. This is their doing, right? To what? To refine us. So Proverbs 70 verse 3. So again, we're in the baptism of fire, right? Why? Because when Christ was crucified, he went through all these. He went through the baptism of fire, and then he went through the baptism of the crucifixion, right? To crucify himself. And then later on, after all that, the fire and the crucifixion, the dying of himself, he resurrected. So we're on onto the baptism of fire right now. So we're gonna jump into the crucifixion and what it means in the spiritual aspects, and how can we apply all those things that Christ went through to our lives today. And that's basically what, this is basically the initiation teaching that I want to bring out. But go ahead, bro.
Proverbs verse 7 or chapter 17 verse 3. The fining pot is for silver, and the furnace for gold, but Yahweh trieth the hearts.
You see? So it's all about trying. We are being tried. We are being put through the fire, and it's not just because the Most High enjoys seeing us suffer, and that goes back to our terrestrial parent, right? Most of you had parents that you got punished. You were taking your TV, your Nintendo got turned off. I don't know. You brothers have gone through your own lives. You know what you've gone through with your parents, and they put you in a timeout, or they spanked you, or whatever they like, right? And sometimes you don't understand why. Well, this is why. Why? Because we have to be put through the fire in order for us to be accepted, right? That's the baptism of fire. That's what it entails. The book of Job 23, verse 10.
Job chapter 23 verse 10. But he knoweth the way that I take. When he hath tried me, I shall come forth as gold.
You see that, bro? Job was tried. He understood this. He understood these concepts. He was able to grasp the big idea, the bigger picture behind his suffering. Remember, Job had it all, bro. He had wives. He had beautiful daughters, the most beautiful women on that time, whatever they like. He had sheep, cattle, donkeys, servants. He had it all. He was doing well, bro. Right? So and then he was put through the fire. He was put through the furnace of adversity. Why? In order for him to be tested, right? That's how you find worthy, right? And it's the movie Thor, right? Remember Thor? I don't know if you brothers seen that Thor, the movie, when Thor was banished from the kingdom. Why? Because he wasn't worthy of handling the hammer, the weapon, right? Because the weapon that he had was a weapon to destroy and a weapon to build, right? That's why we are those weapons. We are the axe and the battle axe of the Most High. So we are set to destroy, but we're also set to build, right? We are the battle axe that destroys and kills and builds as well. So when Thor
So
was punished by his father Odin, he's like, whoever holds his hammer, whoever is worthy shall possess the power of Thor, right? So Thor was sent to the earth to basically go through hell, humble himself down to understand like what real suffering is, so on and so forth, right? Once he understood that, once he learned the lesson of his fire, once he learned the lesson of he being put in the fire, then his powers returned, and he was basically clothed with celestial body, celestial armor, and power. And then the Mjolnir, or the hammer, came back to him, right? And so he became Thor again. So that's the same concept, bro. Like, we have to be put through the fire, just like Job was put through the fire in order for him to be chosen out of that adversity, right? In order to be tested and purified, right? Because what is the point if you have all this money and you have all these riches and you have all this wisdom, this and that and third? If and then you don't understand humbleness. You know what I'm saying? You don't understand how to be humble or whatever the like. So let me see. Yeah. So let me see. Jish, are you there, bro? I don't know. But yeah, man. So Job went through
my mic
hell,
dropped
right?
off.
Job went through hell, and then he was chosen and selected in that furnace of adversity. Right? He was Bahar, chosen in order to chosen to join, right? Join back to the Father. So imagine the things that Job went through. He went through hell, bro. So let's see.
Brought me back in.
Jish, are you there, bro?
Off. It shut my mic off for a minute. I don't know what happened. It kicked me out and it brought me back in, and my mic wasn't working.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
All
here.
right.
I'm here now.
Yeah, Deuteronomy
I,
chapter
w-
4, verse.
I wanted to add some about Job real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, he had knowledge, and he refused to spread that knowledge and preach to the people. And he went through extra tribulation for it because he didn't do the commandments of Yahweh. He refused to preach.
Yeah, you're right, bro. Exactly. Yeah, man. Yeah, because he was dealing with the other Edomites, I believe, the three Edomites, so his three friends.
I forget exactly how it went. I just remember he went through extra
Yeah,
tribulation because of his neglect to spread the word. You got the he forgot about charity because charity is spreading the word and knowledge. It's waking people up. That's charity.
right. Yeah, and I'm sure like him being the richest man and having the most beautiful daughters, I'm sure pride set in a little bit in there too, and so on and so forth. And this is why, I tell Kwana, I've been telling Kwana for quite some time, like, bro, like you could be teaching our nation, you could be sharing the knowledge that you have to the nation, but you're so stingy, you're so stingy that you don't want to share the knowledge, right? You're too prideful to think that you have it all, this and that and the third. Now, mind you, the brother has knowledge. Ain't nobody gonna deny that, right? But at the same time, if you have this knowledge and all this understanding, and you're not teaching it in the nation, you're nothing more than a Pharisee. Just like the Pharisees of ancient times, when Christ was walking upon the earth, telling the Pharisees, like, listen, you guys have all this knowledge. You guys have the key of the mysteries of knowledge, right? The keys of the mysteries of knowledge. Why? Because Levites were joined to the Father. They were connected. There was a link between the Levites and the Father, right? So knowledge was being downloaded onto their minds, you know, better than the rest of the tribes, except the kings of Judah. So I told him like, bro, you could be teaching, but no, you want to be prideful. You want to, keep all the knowledge to yourself, this and that and the third. And that's basically how the Pharisees were operating. This is why Christ rebuked them, saying that, like, you shut the gates of the kingdom of God, but you yourselves don't enter in. Not only that, but you also have the keys of knowledge and you don't share it,
Con,
right? Right. So,
yes.
so that's basically what was happening to Job. And he was put through that fire in order to learn that lesson, to be humbled down, in order to be refined, right? Be refined. That's the whole concept of fire. Fire is basically a purifying agent, a purifying element. And the Hebrew word for fire is ash, right? Ash. That's what basically, that's where you get the word ashes, right? Why? Because ashes is basically the byproduct of the wood that you just burned, and the wood represents the human being, the human man, the humankind, right? Because we read that we are symbolized as what? As trees, and trees. Where does wood come from? Comes from trees, right? So going back to ashes, ashes is the byproduct of wood being burned up, right? So that's basically what fire is. Fire means the leader of consumption. You lead to consume the
And
like
after the wood is burned up, it leaves a more useful product, which is lye to make soap and to do other things with. And also the charcoal that's left over, it actually purifies other things. So once it's purified through the burning, you can purify water with charcoal. So you know,
Yeah, man, beautiful, beautiful, exactly. All praise to the Most High, man. See how this thing is flowing. So yeah, so that's basically ash. The word means leader, power, God, and the word or I mean sha, or asha means destruction or consume, right? To destroy. So that's basically what it does. Fire consumes and destroy in order to lead. That's basically what it is. That's basically the meaning behind fire. Fire means to destroy and consume in order for you to lead, right? So we have to be consumed in the fire, be burned up in order to the point where it turned to ashes in order for us to what? To purify ourselves and also to rise from the ashes, right? And we're gonna dive into that in a little bit later. But yeah, so that's basically the understanding of fire, ash, right? Ash, to destroy in order to lead. That's basically what fire is, to destroy in order to lead, right? Means the word means leader, God, one of a thousand, and Shah means to destroy. So ash, ash, ashes. Anyway, so Let's go Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 20.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 20. But Yahweh hath taken you, and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, even out of Mitzrayim, to be unto him a people of inheritance, as ye are this day.
You see that? So that's where our first furnace began. That was our first furnace of the iron furnace, right? That's basically our first furnace of adversity. That's when the entire nation of Israel was put through the fire. That was our first fire, bro. You know what? 400 years of servitude, slavery, so on and so forth. Right now, in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 20, the word iron, it's H1270, which it means barzel, which means oppression, harshness, right? The root word is H1269, which is birsod. Birsod means to pierce. You see that? Birsod means to pierce, right? Now, piercing is what? It's exactly what Christ went through. He was pierced by nails, right? So he was put through the furnace of iron, the fire. It's all connected, bro. It's all connected. So going back to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 20, that was our first iron furnace, right? Which means oppression, harshness, which is the root word H1269, bishrod, which is to pierce. So the entire nation of Israel, we are the Messiah ourselves, right? We're gonna dive into that in a little bit later. I'm gonna show you something, right? It's beautiful, right? It's all connected. So the entire nation of Israel, we are the Messiah, right? As a body. Why? Because we are that son. We are the son of the Most High. So as a son ourselves, we were crucified with Christ. When that happened, we being crucified for the past, several thousand years since Egypt, all the way until now, which is the last captivity today, right here, right now. Do you understand? So all these 7 captivities is basically the 7 crucifixions of the entire nation of Israel as a whole, collectively as a nation, right? So that's basically what it means to pierce. Now let's go to Isaiah 45, verse 3. Shalom, Yashar. Welcome to the live. I don't know what's going on the comment section, but thanks for being here. Stick around.
Isaiah 45, verse 3. And I will give thee the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I, Yahweh, which call thee by thy name, am the Elohim of Israel.
You see, so the Most High said that he was going to give us treasures of darkness, bro. What does that mean? Treasures of darkness. Ooh, what does that mean? So the word darkness, right? It goes back to the Hebrews 28:22. It's Hoshek, which means misery, destruction, death, night. See that? So when the Most High said, "I'm going to give you treasures of darkness," it's not talking about gold, bro. It's talking about the treasures of darkness is basically all these trials, the fire of baptism. That's basically what it's going into. Why? Because the word darkness in that chapter, Isaiah 45, verse 3, it's Hebrews 28:22, Hoshek, which means misery, destruction, death, night, right? Death, night. Right, so it's all that. So it's exactly what our nation has gone through. It's exactly what our nation is going through today. We are being given the treasures of darkness, the treasures of misery, destruction, death, and night. Now we know that when you plant a seed into the ground, that seed goes into where? Into darkness, underground, right? So we are those seeds that have been put through the darkness. Why? Because we are being given these treasures that are found in darkness itself, in herself, which is what? Choshek, which means what? Misery, destruction, death, and night. Now, again, the night is also another element of being molded in the darkness, right? That's because that's basically what, again, when you plant a seed into the ground, that seed lays down in darkness, right? But it's in that darkness where the spirit of man is awakened. It's in that darkness in which that seed, it's in that darkness the seed springs forth life. It springs forth light and life, right? And it starts growing, and once it gets out, it actually touches the source, which is the sun, right? The photosynthesis and all that stuff, right? So it's the illumination of the sun. So is the same concept with the human being. We are given the treasures of darkness in order, which are the mysteries and the destruction, death, and the night of life, right? Of life, of this journey, this planet that we're in order to do that, to awaken ourselves in that darkness, right? Now, go to Psalms chapter 91, verse 5.
Can you hear me? All right.
Yep.
Psalms chapter 91, verse 5. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day.
There it is, man. So you see, the Most High is saying, don't be scared of the night, meaning don't be scared of the choshek, the darkness, which is what? The misery, the destruction, the death, and the night, right? It's telling you right there, do not fear darkness, do not fear choshek, all that mystery and all that things, all that night, you being in a process of darkness in the tunnel, right? Why? Because it's like when a baby is in the womb of the mother, the baby has to be in darkness, and then it goes through it goes through the womb, and then the child sees a window of light at the end of the tunnel, and that's when he is reborn or rebirth or birthed on this planet. He comes out of the womb. He comes out of the darkness, right? That sack of water, right? That sack of water, which is all water, is emotions, is people, is situations, right? So that's basically what it's going into. You should not fear the darkness, the choshek, H2822, right? The destruction, death, and misery that we're going through. Why? Because all of that is part of what? The baptism of what? Of fire. And fire is what? Ash, which means the leader, being consumed in order to lead, being destroyed in order to lead. And the destruction happens in the darkness, in the mystery, and the trials and tribulations on this planet, this journey, each and one of us, right? And again, no fire is ever the same, right? And that's why everybody goes through different situations and circumstances in life, more than others, or maybe less than others, and so on and so forth. So Mosai is telling you in Psalms 91, verse 5, to do not fear night, right? Now, the word there, terror, right? The word terror, Terror, the terror of night, it goes back to the word H3883, lul, right? Which means a staircase, winding stair, shaft, or enclosed space with the steps or a ladder, right? Why? Because the night leads us to higher ground as in elevation. You understand? So that's why it's saying, as a matter of fact, read it again, bro. Please.
What was it? Psalms 91, verse
5.
5. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night.
That's it. That's it. So that you should not be afraid of the terror by night. Meaning what? H3883, lul, which means a staircase, winding stair, the shaft or enclosed space with the steps or a ladder. The night leads us to higher ground as in elevation. Why? Because the terror of night is lul. It's basically the stairs, the steps. And what do we use steps for? We use steps to elevate ourselves to the second floor, the third floor, the fourth floor, or whatever the like, right? Obviously, now today they use elevators and stuff, but the whole concept of a stair is basically you going up, right? And so what leads us to that upper ground or upper room, right? That upper realms. What does it leads us to that? The terror of night. The terror of night, which means, staircase, winding stair, shaft, or enclosed space with the steps or ladder. Ladder. Ladder leads us to higher ground. Night, darkness, choshek, darkness, destruction, mystery, dead, night. It's all connected. It's all leads us to higher ground. To mean what? The elevation. And all of that is what? It's part of the baptism of fire, right? It's part of the baptism of fire. So, go to, let me see, First Chronicles 28, 11 and 12.
First Chronicles 28 and verse
Yeah.
12. And the pattern of all that he had by the Ruach of the courts of the house of Yahweh, and of all the chambers around about, of the treasuries of the house of Elohim, and for the treasuries of the dedicated things.
Exactly. So there's treasuries, right? There's I'm gonna show you in a minute. Watch. So yeah, so basically that was kind of like what you just read is basically the understanding behind the rooms, the three level rooms in which we hid all the treasures from the temple, right? I'm gonna show you. Let's see, hold on. Give me a minute. Facing back, facing front.
Yeah, I'm going to read it one more time.
Yep.
First Chronicles 28 and 12. And the pattern of all that he had by the Spirit of the courts of the house of Yahweh, the courts of the house of Yahweh, and of all the chambers round about, of the treasuries of the house of Elohim, and of the treasuries of the dedicated things.
So I don't know if you brothers can see it, but I can't turn my camera around. But you see the three levels of treasuries in the temple. That's basically the three levels of understanding, right there. But I don't know if you brothers can see it. Can you see it, bro? Or no?
It's kind of fuzzy, but yeah, a little bit. I don't know, maybe on a bigger,
Hold on.
because this this picture's small.
Yeah, hold on. Back, facing front. Anyways, man, I wanted to show you these visuals, bro, because it's very important. Right? Hold on, give me a minute. I can't show you, bro. Okay. All right. So yeah. So basically, what brother Yishai read is basically like the schematics of the levels in which the temple was built, which is through levels all the way around the temple, right? And in that concept, in that building setup, you had three levels of rooms outside the temple all around, right? In which all the gold, the silver, the bronze was basically hidden away. And that's basically what it goes into us being given treasures of darkness, like we read earlier in Isaiah 45, verse 3, right? The treasures of darkness means what? The mystery, the night, the darkness, right? which is all that, the elevation, the staircase, just like we read earlier, right? In Psalms 91:5, the word there is terror of night, right? The terror of night is H3883 Lul, right? Lul, which means staircase, winding stair, shaft, or enclosed space with the steps or ladder, right? Because the night leads us to the higher ground or to the higher chambers, right? The staircase. I don't know. I try to find the scripture where it talks about that King David built a staircase in the back room in order to access all the silver and gold and treasures in the temple. He built that staircase, right? That lul, that terror of night. That's basically what is going to the staircase, the ladder that leads us to higher ground, or to the treasures of wisdom, right? The elevation. That's basically what it is. So in order for even us get there, we have to first go through what? The purification of the baptism of fire. So from there, let's go to Proverbs 24, verse 4. All right, we're almost done with like the baptism of fire. We're gonna move into the second part, right? But stay patient, bro.
Proverbs 24, verse 4.
Yeah, yeah.
And by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches.
You see, by knowledge, all the treasures are going to be filled up, right? The chambers are going to be filled. What is those chambers talking about, right? The three levels of understanding, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, the three rooms that were built in the temple of Solomon, right? All around it, which had three levels to it. Man, I wish I can show you, bro, but let me see.
Yeah, I like the next verse after that. A wise man is strong. Yeah. A man of knowledge increaseth strength because of, going through the tribulations, the fire. You get stronger. You increase in knowledge.
Exactly. Yep.
That's one of the treasures. Knowledge is a treasure.
Let me see. Do you see it or no? No, you can't see it. You can't see it, man.
I can barely see it, but I think that when you watch the video, you'll be able to see it.
Right. Okay, let me see. Yeah, so basically, they're called storerooms, right? Storerooms. Yeah, we read it in First Chronicles 28, 11, and 12. So basically, the knowledge is stored in those chambers, right? In those three levels, right? The three levels of which is wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right? Three aspects of ourselves to elevate ourselves, right? But obviously, we won't be able to get to those chambers unless we go through what? We go through the terror of night. We have to go through the terror of night, which is part connected to the baptism of fire, right? Because the furnace of adversity is the trials and tribulations, right? The terror of night, right? The what would you call it? The choshek, the darkness. Isaiah 45 verse 3. The word there is choshek, which means darkness, which means what? The misery, the destruction and death, and the night. The terror of night is lul, which H3883, which is the staircase or the ladder that leads us to those chambers, those rooms, in which is what? There is knowledge, right? So from there, let's go to Proverbs chapter 8, verse 21. So, those chambers are filled up with knowledge, right? But again, we don't get there until what? Until we go through the terror of night. We go to the choshek, the darkness, the terror of night, alul, which is all that, the ladder that leads us through the all the levels, right? In which there's chambers of knowledge. So, you got it?
What was it again? Proverbs
Chapter 8, verse 21.
Verse 21. 8 and 21. That I may cause those that love me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasures.
You see, he will fill our treasures with what we read in First Chronicles chapter 28, verse 11 and 12, in which all these chambers were filled up with what? With the gold, the silver, all the treasures of the temple, all the treasures of your mind, of your own self, or your inner man. That's basically what it is. And this is why Christ said what? He said, the kingdom is what? Is within you, meaning these treasures are already within ourselves. All these, it's just the problem is that it's all locked up. Why? Because we haven't been put through the fire. We haven't put through this process of stress, terror of night, lul, which is the staircase that leads to that levels. Why? Because we haven't gone through the darkness, which is hoshak, which means what? Misery, destruction, death, night. We haven't gone through the hoshek and the darkness, right? Isaiah 45 verse 3. So in order for us to even get there, we have to go through that the darkness, the piercing, which is what we read over there in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 20, when it says that we were in the first furnace of iron, right? Which goes back to the H1270 Barzel, which means oppressions and hardness, which has its root word in the H1269, which is Bizroth, which means to pierce. So all our entire nation was basically pierced, crucified throughout the ages in these darkness, choshek and misery and destruction, death and night. And obviously, we're still going through the terror of night today. Why? Because everybody's climbing. Some people are in the first step. Some people are on the second, third, fourth, fifth, seventh, so on and so forth. But everybody is in various levels, right? But everybody's must get on those ladders. The lul, the terror of night, Psalms 91:5, lul, to the staircase, the winding stair, the shaft or enclosed space with steps or ladder, right, in order for us to lead to those chambers that we read in First Chronicles 28, Proverbs 24:4, Proverbs 8:21, right? Filled treasures. That's basically what the Most High promises us when we go through this baptism of fire, right? So again, so that was the baptism of fire. You understand? So this is how Christ elevated himself. You understand? He went through all of what I just said. He went through it all. As a matter of fact, when he was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane, right? He prayed to the Father. It's like, listen, if it was up to me, I don't know, but let your will be done, right? May this cup of wrath and judgment and fire and tribulation pass through me, right? But obviously that didn't happen because he drank of that cup, right? Which was what? He went through the fire. He went through the tribulation. He was persecuted. He was being plotted against all the time. He was being persecuted all the time. This is why he hit himself many, many times from the people. Do you understand? So he went through all of that, bro. Even to the point he went through the cross. He was crucified. He was pierced. He was what would you call it? He was betrothed. He was betrothed to pierce. He was pierced like the rest of our nation is. The rest of our nation has for the past thousands of years, even until today. Our people are still being pierced by these Canaanites. Our people are being killed by these Canaanite dogs out there in the streets, right? So our nation is still being pierced. Native Americans are being killed by police at a greater number, more than the so-called Negroes, right? But nobody's saying anything. Nobody's marching for them, right? They're dying of depression, and they're committing suicide, and they're living in a low state. They're going through the terrors of night. They're going through the terrors of night. They're going through those stairs, that winding stair, bro. That in order to reach what? The higher ground, right? But how are they gonna get to there if we don't show them? You know what I'm saying? But everybody's focused on black, 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 black. But anyway, so that was the baptism of fire. Again, the I.N.R.I, INRI, which means Jesus Nazarenus Judaerum, which translates to Joshua of Nazareth, King of the Jews, which, the esoteric meaning behind all of that is igne natura renovatur integra, which translates to by fire. Our nature is perfectly renewed, rebirth, right? Reform. So we went through the baptism of fire. Obviously, all that has to do with a chemical purification that we must go through. All of us, we all have to go through this baptism of fire to crucify ourselves, to be put through the fire and resurrect, on the third day. And again, I explained it that each of those 3 days represents three various baptisms. Baptism of fire, we already explained it. Now we're gonna move to the the killing, the slaying, or the crucifying of the self, the outside man, the flesh, right? The ego, they call it. in various communities. They call it the ego, right? And they tell you to kill the ego and this and that and the third. But how are you gonna kill something that was already put within us, right? Because all of it has to be balanced, right? Mosai says what? He says that on an unjust scale, balance is an abomination, right? Which means what? Everything has to be balanced, all of it, right? And this is what we see today in this fallen world. Why? Because many people, millions of people have been put through the fire, and they have not learned the first process, which is the baptism of fire, right? All the terror of night, they haven't gone through the stairs, and if they go through the stairs, maybe they fall, they fall to the ground and whatever they like, and they have to start over again. So let's read First Peter 2:11.
Just a second.
Yeah, so we're gonna basically dive into the crucifying of the self, right? Oh man, I wish I could break this out, man.
First Peter 2 and what? 7?
First Peter chapter 2 verse 11.
11. Dearly beloved, I beseech you, as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts, which war against the soul.
Yeah, so basically, that's the self, that's the human nature, right? Today, why? Because we're in this fleshy, in this body suit, which is cling to the carnal desires of this planet, the terrestrial self, right? So let me see. Let me go to the scripture real quick. Hold on. First Peter 2:11. Yeah, it says, "Dearly beloved, I beseech you, as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts, which war against the soul." You see, so we are in the midst of a war. Why? How? Well, that war is being taken place at the spiritual realms. Our souls and our spirits are fighting the flesh, right? The flesh. And just like there's that Native American saying, that proverb that Native Americans are saying, and many people are copying today, is that it says, there's two bears within us, or whatever the like, and then one is good, one is passion, one is love, one is goodness, one is peace, and the other one, no, the other one is hatred, fear, doubts, and all these lower vibrations and frequencies, right? And so the child asked the elder, the Native American elders, like, well, okay, so which bear wins within us all? And the answer of the Native Americans, like, well, the one that's gonna win is the one that you continue to feed. You see, so that's basically us ourselves, symbolizing that we, tend to feed our minds, ourselves, our carnal man, with various things from this planet. Why? Because we are locked in this plane of existence, battling the war of the soul. Right? There's a war that's being taken place. The minute you come out of the womb, the war begins right there. That right there it begins. Why? Because now there's the war has to do with the mind. It has to do with your soul, right? And that's
That's
the battle that.
That's exactly when the ego starts attaching itself to you. You want to be like your parents, and they all have big egos, and they're going after money and riches, and we just follow suit without really knowing what we're doing right away.
Yeah, man, that was beautiful. Well said, bro. Exactly. Like we began to copy certain things, and the copying of those things is not just at a physical level. It has to do with the subconscious level, right? Because now, let's say you grew up in a household where your parents are Catholic, right? Now you are born into this concept that you gotta bow down to these gods. You gotta say the rosary. You gotta say the Abba Father and whatever they like 10 times a day, whatever they like. So people are brought into these concepts, ideologies, dogmas, all throughout the world, right? So we are trapped. This is the battle. The battle begins when you are born, even prior to that, because when you are in your mother's womb, you are able to listen the talks, the conversations that take place outside the womb. You are able to listen to the music that your mother is listening to, or whatever it is being broadcasted into the ears of your mother. You are also able.
Emotions.
Yeah, exactly. In that, but going back to what I was saying, so yeah, so you're able to hear those conversations, that TV, that music, that song, how you talk, conversations that take place, and guess what? You as a baby, your subconscious is able to catch all of that, what happens in the biology when you're inside the womb is that those images, those sounds, those vibrations, those frequencies, those conversations that took place, those songs that you listen to, are stored within the subconscious cells, those rooms, those chambers inside your mind in the background. Why? Because they're basically there. It's kind of like screenshots of the mind. Like you have screenshots in your mind, so that when you know the conversation is gonna take place, you can bring the receipt out. It's like, oh yeah, you said that. Well, you said this. Boom. Yeah, and you cut them. Right. It was basically that. That's basically the screenshots of the memory of the memory of the mind. They're stored way in the back of the subconscious because you cut it when you were little, before you even came out. So you're right. I mean, that it takes place all the way back then. But going back to where you were saying too, like the emotional one, yeah, there's emotions too, so on and so forth. And that's why I tell the married women, like people that are pregnant and stuff, I'm like, listen, make sure you do the lotus birth. The lotus birth is basically when you are born, you're not supposed to cut the placenta. You're supposed to leave it there for until it dries out, because you're sucking up all the nutrients, all the proteins, all these cells that you need in order for your brain to develop itself. Right? What's happening today is that a lot of children are being born without fully uh, uh, um, eating all those nutrients that are necessary for the development of the mind and the brain, right? This is why many people grow up to just be blind mentally,
Not
spiritually. There's a fog in the mind.
on top of that, they start injecting you with vaccines and stuff right away, and you all kinds of
Man,
stuff.
right, right, exactly, exactly. So it's all that, man. So that the battle, that's the battle of the soul. But that's exactly the battle, right? So that we went through the baptism of fire, the darkness, right? All the darkness, and the hoshak, and we went through the furnace of iron in Egypt, and all these trials and tribulation, all the fire that purifies and refines, right? That was the first step in order for us to elevate. The second step is to slay the men, slay the inner men, slay the outside men, slay the mind, crucify ourselves, sacrifice ourselves, right? So let's go to Romans chapter 7, verse 23. So this is the second step to elevate ourselves, which is what? To slay the outside man, the carnal man, ourselves, the ego, and to crucify ourselves, right? Crucify the self. And that's how Christ did it. Exactly how Christ did it. It's exactly how he ascended. It's exactly how we're supposed to ascend also to the higher realms of consciousness, and this new age in which humanity is coming into. There's a new earth being created, and a lot of people are not aware of it. It's why many are going to be left behind, right? Like I said, I think I made a post saying that the ark of Noah is already here. The ark of Noah is already here, and many don't see it. Why? Because they're asleep. They haven't. They don't want to wake up. They want to still consume in that darkness, right? We know that we have to go through the darkness, but I'm talking about the actual darkness, like the ones that they don't want to come out of. So that's why we're here. We have to learn ourselves first, how to elevate ourselves and our mind and our spirit, in order for us to help others as well. So in order to do that, we have to go through the fire, the baptism of fire, and then we have to slay and crucify the self. So that's what we're going into right now. So Shalom, Romans 7:23.
Romans chapter 7, verse 23. But I see another Torah in my members, warring against the Torah of my mind, and bringing me into captivity to the Torah of sin, which is in my members.
Bro, that's a ladder right there, bro. There's a war. Again, goes back to the war of the soul taking place. And guess what we're fighting against? We're fighting our own selves, the flesh. Verse 23, it says, But I see another law in the members, warring against the law of my mind. You say the law of my mind. What is in the mind? What is in the Holy of Holies? Right? The Ten Commandments, right? The Ten Commandments, not the 363 laws. It's only the Ten Commandments, the royal laws, the two tablets, right? The two pillars of humanity, which is the two tablets of the law. Well, what's in the Holy of Holies? The law, the two tablets of stone. So it says, I see another law in my members warring against the law of my mind, meaning the law, the heavenly laws, the actual laws, the Ten Commandments. It says, and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members. You see the members. Let's see the members. Go to Colossians 3, verse 5. Colossians 3, 5. Colossians 3, 5.
It's a very small book.
Yeah, Colossians chapter 3, verse 5.
Colossians chapter 3, verse 5. Mortify, therefore, your members which are upon the earth: fornication, uncleanliness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence. I always have a hard time with that word. And covetousness, or covetousness, which is idolatry.
Right. So
Slovakia.
that's basically, yeah, that's okay, man. So that's basically the members. Those are that's how we war. That's how the soul is warring against all those things, all the fornication, all the uncleanness, all the concupiscence, which is basically the strong sexual desires. Like it's non-stop sexual desire, right? And covetousness. You want what others want. You want these. You want that. Well, they have that. Well, I want it too, so on and so forth. So all of that, that's basically what the ego, the outside man, the carnal man is fighting against. That's what we read in 1 Peter 2:11, the war of the soul. Well, this is it right here, just like we read in Romans 7:23. Let's see, Romans 7:23. Romans chapter 7 verse 23 says, and bring me into captivity to the law of sin which is in my members. Well, those are the members. Those are the second body. That's the carnal body. That's who we go against all the time. So that's basically the what we fighting against, the war of the soul, right? So we're gonna continue to dive into the crucifixion of the slaying or the killing of the outside man, the ego man, ourselves, the carnal man, right? So let's go to Romans chapter 12, verse 1. So again, everything that we went through back in ancient times to basically slaughter animals, to sacrifice these animals, it was all pointing back to what we're about to read. Why? Because all of that was everything that we were doing back in ancient times, the killing of lambs and bulls and all these sacrifices that we were offering unto the gods, the Elohim, were basically a shadow. They were a schoolmaster in order for us to what? To crucify our own selves, to crucify our inner man, our outside man, the mind, the ego, and all these members that we are going to war against, which the things that we read earlier, right? All these lustful desires, all these carnal things, all these lower vibrations on this plane of existence, while we go through this fleshy plane, this flesh, these desires, man. And it's all a battle, man. It's a battle. So for brothers to say like, yeah, I'm holier than thou, like nobody's holy, bro. Everybody's going through, a step or two, or they're on the first step, or they haven't even gone through the first step. Some are on the baptism of fire. Some are on the crucifying of the self, and some of them are in none. You know what I'm saying? So it's various different processes. So Romans 12:1.
Romans chapter 12, verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Elohim, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto Elohim, which is your reasonable service. It's
There
a
it is, man.
reasonable service.
Right. Yep. Yeah, so see that, so we have to sacrifice ourselves. We have to sacrifice, to offer up our bodies as a living sacrifice, right? It says holy, acceptable unto God. Now remember, we read earlier in Isaiah 48 verse 10 that we are chosen. Where are we chosen at? Where does the selection happen or takes place? In the furnace of adversity. Remember Isaiah 48 verse 10. The word there is chosen. We are chosen in the furnace of adversity. We are bahar, to try, to select, to choose, to join, to require, because all that is required in order for us to be joined back to the source, back to the Father. And there in that furnace, we are chosen, just like we just read now. That in Romans 12, 1, it says, present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God. You see? So that's how we become also acceptable, by sacrificing ourselves, sacrificing the lower parts of ourselves, the lower frequency, all that hatred, all that trauma, bro. And it's all darkness, bro. It's like, again, like we read earlier, the terror of night, the terror of night, the Lul, H 3883, the darkness, Isaiah 45 verse 3, the misery, the destruction, the death, the night, all the darkness. And again, I explained to you, brothers, that every time you plant a seed, that seed goes into darkness. And it's in the darkness where nobody is seeing, nobody's watching. It's in the darkness in which, life springs forth. A new, you are reawakened, because the seed was what? Every time you have a seed, that seed has sleep. It's asleep, and it's in darkness. It's in a dormant state, right? And again, there's various humans on this planet that are in a state of standby mode. They're asleep, right? They haven't been awakened. Why? Because they haven't been planted in this darkness, right? They haven't been planted in this darkness. Why? Because Satan comes in and disrupts the word, disrupts your process, disrupts your journey on this and that third. But we have to understand that we are at war. Our soul is at war all the time, ever since we are in our mother's womb. Since the conception takes place in the egg of a woman, that's when the war begins. So, yeah. So the sacrificing of ourselves, of our bodies, our minds, our lustful desires, bro. The lust that wars against the mind and against the body. That's the war that we all must go through. That's the battle, man. So, and it's not easy. So, um, again, let me show you, right? Because let me see. You there, Yishai?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Right. So yeah, man. So,
Is there anybody watching? You have a little symbol on your picture. It says live, and it has an eyeball, and it has 0.
what was that?
And on your picture for this chat room here, it has a live, and then next to it there's a symbol with an eyeball, and it has 0. Is there anybody watching?
No, I don't see it.
Oh, it's from my view on this, but it doesn't matter. It's being recorded.
Oh, on the bottom.
Yeah, where it says live on your picture right here, that I can see it from my point of view, because you're the leader of the chat. But on the picture, on your picture that I'm looking at here, it says for live, it has 0 people watching. I don't know if I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see it, man. I don't see it. Ephraim,
It's all
I don't
good.
know where Jose Vega is, bro. I'm not sure. I shared the link to his. I sent him a text. I don't know if he got it. I don't know if you talked to him already. I know he was on the chat.
Oh,
I don't know if I think he was on the chat earlier with us, and I actually told everybody else that I was gonna go live, and everybody heard it. But I don't know if he does have phone service, or I don't know, brother. Pablo de Santiago, Shalom, Shalom. Welcome to the live. Anyway, yeah,
you just answered my question. You just answered my question. There are people watching. Cool.
oh, okay. Okay, man. Yeah, because in my thing I don't see anything. It just says 0. On this side where I'm looking at, it just says, so it says 0 people are watching, but it
Yeah,
seems like there's people watching. So all praise to the
cool.
Most High.
All praises.
Cool. All right. So okay. So basically, again, going back to the baptisms and stuff. So, let me see. Um. All right. So you brothers remember back in the law when the tabernacle Moses was built up in the wilderness. Remember that? And then the Mosai basically told Moses to align all the tribes around the tabernacle of Moses. You guys remember that?
Yeah, yep. They all
Exactly. So
put.
right. So basically, when you look at when you read that scripture, this is what you're looking at right here. You see that? You're looking at a cross. The middle section right
Yes,
here.
con.
Yeah, the middle section will be like the tabernacle. It will have the holy place in the middle, like let's see, right here. Hold on, give me a minute. Give me a minute. Let me put this in the ground like this, and so I can explain it. So you see that, right? So you see right here, you have the holy place, and you have the holy of holies right here, right? So, but check this out, right? This is how the tribes were basically set up back in the wilderness, right? You have the tabernacle in the middle, and all the tribes around it, creating a cross, right? You have up here, you got the tribe of Ephraim, right, which is 40,500 members. The tribe of Manasseh, we got 32,200. The tribe of Benjamin, 35 and 400, right? So on and so forth. So you got at the south, you got Gad, you got Simeon, you got Reuben, and their various tribes up on the thousands, right? And on the north side, you got Naphtali, you got Asher, and you got Dan with their thousands upon thousands of members, right? And down here, this is the bigger one, right? That's why you got two squares. Everybody else has one square. The east section has Judah, which he ranges between 74,600 members, so on and so forth. You got Issachar, you got Zebulun. So this is the east side, right? So it creates this cross. You see that? You see the cross? So again, this is the tabernacle, right? This is the tabernacle Moses. You got the holy place right here, and you got the holy place, right? And then in the most holy place, or the holy of holies, you got the ark of the covenant, in which you have the two stones, right? This is where the mine is at. Now this is what it means for us to be crucified, right? Why? Because once you get crucified, it creates what we call the square. You see? It create like the nation of Israel is basically. This is why a lot of hold on. There's like an ant that flies. You see, so again, all the tribes that surround the tabernacle of Moses create a cross. You see the cross? Why? Because the cross symbolizes an agreement, right? Like this, like in the Hebrew. In the Hebrew, that's the letter of agreement, ta. I believe it's ta. So that means agreement or pact or mark, right? So the entire nation of Israel was marked to God to do what? To crucify the entire nation of Israel. What was crucified? This is why we made up a cross, literally a cross, around the tabernacle of Moses, right? And that tabernacle and that these camps, right? Because these are 12 camps. Three up here, three to the west, three to the north, three to the south, and three to the east, right? The 12 tribes, our people, our nation. We made up that cross. Why? Because we are that agreement. We are that marking. And we were crucified just like Christ was crucified on the cross, right? Creating what? Creating the very same mind of the Holy of Holies. We are the Holy of Holies, right? We are the mind of God, right? Do you guys understand? So literally, the nation of Israel is basically a cube within a cube, within a cube, within a cube. Why? Because even the tabernacle of Moses, you can actually do the same thing and create a cube. And even the Holy of Holies, which is up here, right? I think it's a 10 by 10. You can create another cube, and it's basically a cube within a cube within a cube, which is what? The mind of God. Why? Because in the Holy of Holies, you got these right here. You got a square, which is what the the Ark of the Covenant, and the Ark of the Covenant is made up is basically the same thing. Do you understand? So we have the mind of God within the entire nation of Israel. We were crucified, ourselves. We were put through the fire. We were put through the hardness of adversity, the furnace of adversity, the darkness, hashak, what's the word? Um, the yeah, the Hoshek, the darkness. You see, so the entire nation of Israel, all the 12 tribes, right? Ephraim, Gad, Naphtali, Judah, and the rest, we made up that cross. We were marked and crucified, all of us together as a nation. Do you understand? Our people were crucified. Our people, basically human sacrifice happened. And this is a cut to a lot of these Old Testament Israelites saying that, oh, Isaiah chapter 8, Isaiah chapter 8, as a matter of fact, let me read it. Isaiah chapter 8, because they use that scripture to say, well, human sacrifice, the Mosai is against it. But wait a minute. You guys teach in Isaiah chapter 8, 53, my bad. Isaiah 53, verse 8, it says, he was taken from prison and from judgment, and who shall declare his generations? For he was cut off out of the land of the living, for the transgressions of my people was he stricken. You see? So they use that scripture to say, you see, well, only the elect was crucified and killed off. Well, that alone proves what we've been saying, that the Mosai sacrificed our people. The 12 tribes were crucified, put through the furnace of adversity. Our people were put through the fire. Our people were put through the darkness, Hoshek, according to Isaiah 45, verse 3, just like we read it. So our entire nation is that cross in the wilderness. You see that? You brothers follow. You guys understand? See, so our entire nation creates the cube or the mind of God. And this is why, like, a lot of these Masons are mocking us. Why? Because they are pushing out the worship of the cube of Saturn, right? Which makes up a cube again. And then who is the cube? Us. We are that cube. They're mocking us by basically worshiping a part of ourselves when we were in power. Back when we were in power, just like they're in power today. So we are being mocked through their Masonic teachings and Kabbalistic understandings or whatever the like. So we are that cube. We were crucified just like Christ was crucified. You understand? Like, again, it's all it's all connected. Everything's connected, bro. Just like our people, created the cross in the wilderness. It's the same that happened to Christ when he was elevated on the cross, like the serpent was elevated in the wilderness, right? In order to do what? In order to save Israel. So that's part of the crucifixion of ourselves, crucifixion of the entire nation of Israel, crucifixion of of ourselves, of the ego, the outside man, the carnal man, right? This is us right here. You see, we are that cube. Why? Because inside the Holy of Holies, you have the tablets, right? The tablets are inside, meaning what? Meaning the law is within ourselves already. The law is within ourselves already. This is why we read in Romans that our people follow the Most High, but not according to knowledge. Why? Because they understand that there's a God. I talk to a lot of our people when I'm at work all the time, bro. We have discussions like this, and then they have the seal of God, bro. A lot of our people have the seal of God. Like, they connect with God. They want to connect with God. They talk about God all the time. This, and the third, bendito sea Dios, primeramente Dios, nos vemos mañana, bendición, and all those things, right? Why? Because our people have the mind of God. They have the tablets inside, but not according to knowledge. Why? Because our people are, have been indoctrinated by these religions that have basically destroyed our people, right? And a lot of our people are going through the crucifixion. Our people are being crucified, right? Just like 12 tribes were basically used and formed a cross around the tabernacle of Moses. See? So, from there, let's read Galatians chapter 2, verse 20.
Galatians chapter 2, verse 20. I am crucified with Messiah. Nevertheless, I live, yet not I, but Messiah liveth in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of Elohim, who loved me and gave himself for me.
You see that? So we are crucified with Christ. What does that mean? That the same things that Christ went through, which is what? The baptism of fire, which is what? Tribulations, the furnace of adversity, tribulations on this planet. But not only that, that's the furnace of adversity, or the baptism of fire is connected to us being put in darkness, through the darkness, right? Through the Hoshek, right? Being pierced, just like we were pierced in Egypt, in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 20, which is the furnace of iron, which means to pierce. Well, the entire nation of Israel was pierced too, just like Christ was pierced. You understand? So Christ is the symbol of the entire nation of Israel. Why? Because Christ died for us, but we're also dying for our own sins, right? Everybody's being crucified, all of us. You know, the human sacrifice, a lot of these Torah only are against, what happened in Isaiah 53, verse 8. According to you guys teach that the elect of Israel was crucified, right? Well, that's human sacrifice. A lot of our people, thousands of our people die. So if that's the case, well, then you prove our case. Christ died for our nation. Christ died for himself as well, right? This is why we are symbolized just like the cross, just like Christ was crucified on the cross. And that's why, Galatians chapter 2, verse 20, it says that we are crucified with Christ, meaning we are going through the same aspects of elevation just like Christ did. Baptism of fire, ourselves being crucified, and killing the lustful men, rearranging the inner man from within, and so on and so forth. Healing, working with the things that we don't like about ourselves, they call it shadow self, right? So it's all of that. Romans chapter 6, verse 6.
Romans chapter 6, verse... Which one?
Verse 6.
Romans 6 and 6.
6 and 6.
Knowing this, that our old man is crucified with him, that the body of sin might be destroyed, that henceforth we should not serve sin.
You see? So the body, right? Ourselves are being crucified. Let me get that scripture, bro. Romans chapter 6, verse 6. It says, knowing this, that our all man is crucified. You see? Our all man. And our all man pertains to various aspects of ourselves, right? It goes back to ancient times. It's not just the all man of today. No, remember when I said that human beings have the capacity at a genetic level to transfer emotions, to transfer character, to transfer traumas that happened to the great grandma, right? And you transfer those genetic markers at a subconscious level, at a spiritual level, at a quantic level within yourselves. Is why the Most I said, like, the first, second, the third, and the fourth generation, I will visit you, right? Why? Because that vibration is being passed down at a spiritual level, at a quantic level, and at a genetic level. This is why our all men, right, our ancient ones, are being crucified ourselves, because we are our parents, we are our ancestors. It's all that within us at the genetic level, at the mental level, at the spiritual level, at the physical level, because we look like a lot of our ancestors or whatever the like. So our all man is being crucified, just like our entire nation was crucified, just like Christ was crucified, which is the second step to elevation, to elevating yourself. So we went through two of the three steps in order for us to elevate. And we're learning the meaning behind the title of Jesus when he died, when the Romans inscribed Jesus Nazarenus Judeo-Odom, which translates to Joshua of Nazareth, King of the Jews. And we are teaching that the esoteric knowledge behind all of that is Igne Natura Renovatur Integra, which translates to by fire our nature is perfectly renewed. We already learned the step number one, which is being put through through the baptism of fire. Step number two is us slaying or killing or sacrificing the lustful man, the old man, right? That's basically the second step for us to learn how to elevate, just like Christ went through all of that, just like our entire nation went through all of that, right? It's the same concept. Do you understand? I hope you guys are following. I hope you brothers are following what I'm bringing out, because it's really powerful to understand these things, bro. To understand these concepts of baptism of fire, right? The by fire our nature is perfectly renewed, just like Christ's nature was perfectly refined or renewed by baptism of fire, by him dying on the cross or crucifying himself as a symbol for the entire nation of Israel to do the same thing. In order to do what? In order to go to down to the lower regions? No, in order to elevate. In order to elevate. In order to elevate your spirit, in order to elevate your mind, in order to elevate your spirit. Why? Because we read earlier that we are going through the battles of what? Of the soul. The battles of the soul. So all of that is is talking to about the process of alchemical purification, the transformation that happens within us at the spiritual level, inside of ourselves, right? To crucify ourselves and to resurrect on the third day, right? So we're gonna go into the resurrection, right? Again, remember, you guys, brothers. I'm sure you guys heard the whole concept behind the phoenix, the bird phoenix. Basically turns into fire, and then fire burns her up to the point that she turns into ashes, and then from the ashes she's basically reborn, right? Just like we read earlier that ash, it's basically the Hebrew word for fire. And then when you translate it, you divide the words. Ash means in order to lead, you must be destroyed from within and without, right? As within, so without. So we gotta transform the inner man first in order to reflect the light outside of ourselves. So we're gonna go into what it means to be renewed or to be resurrected, right? So let's read Matthew 4:16.
Book of St. Matthew, chapter 4, verse 16. The people that walked in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them hath the light shined.
You see, those that are part of the shadow of darkness. You see, what did we learn earlier? What was darkness? Isaiah 45 verse 3. Darkness, Hoshek, is the mystery, the destruction, and the death of our people. Right. So the light had to come into this planet. Right. To do what? To illuminate. Right. Let me see. Let me get it. I like to read with the brothers. Hold on. I said, Matthew 4:16. All right, Matthew 4:16. It says, "The people which sat in darkness." You see, the people who sat in darkness, meaning what? Meaning the Hoshek, right? Isaiah 45 verse 3, which is Hebrews 28:22. Hoshek, the mystery, the destruction, the death, right? So it says the people which sat in darkness saw great light. And to them which sat in the regions and shadow of death, light is sprung up. You see, those who are sitting in the darkness, just like I said earlier, when you plant that seed goes underground in darkness and it stays there until resuscitates and wakes up. So all of us, we all have to be put through the darkness in order to actually really awaken from the sleep, because a lot of people are asleep today, like literally asleep. You may see them laughing, sleeping, decent, waking up, going to work and stuff, but a lot of them are asleep. Why? Because they're still in darkness, right? They're still there. They're just there, sitting. So this is why the light had to come in those regions, through those people that were living in a choshek, in darkness, destruction, and misery. So from there, let's go to um, Romans 6:5.
Romans chapter 6, Verse 5. For if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death, we shall be also in the likeness of his resurrection.
You see, in the likeness of his resurrection, just like all the 12 tribes basically were crucified. We were crucified. We were put through these seven captivities all the way until now. All of us, you see, all of us. Ephraim, Manasseh, Benjamin, Gad, Simeon, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, Dan, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. All are 12 tribes, right? Which makes up the mind of God, the cube, right? With the cube like this, in which it contains the laws, the statutes, and commandments within our minds, which is the seal of the Most High within ourselves, the mark, because we were marked according to the Most High, just like this word. This is a Hebrew word. The X, the whole X like this. Obviously, a lot of the Egyptians perverted it to create the worship of Osiris. That's basically what it is. When you have the black going like this, this is basically a worship to Osiris. So when you see brothers doing that, like you got what's his name, the basketball player, man. There's a basketball player. What's his name? LeBron. When he plays, what does he do? He puts ashes on his hand and he goes like this. It's a worship of Osiris. Do you understand? So our nation creates these right here, the X, which is a Hebrew letter, which is mark or sign or contract or agreement. Why? Because we made an agreement. So Romans 6:5. Read it again, bro.
Romans chapter 6, verse 5. For if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death, we shall be also in the likeness of his resurrection.
You see, we shall also resurrect, which is another step, the third step, in order for us to elevate ourselves, right? By fire, our nature is perfectly renewed. The word renew means rebirth, to awaken from the sleep, to resurrect. That's how we are. We're supposed to reawaken as well, just like Christ did. Our entire nation of Israel has to do the same thing. So from there, let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 10. So we're learning the third step in order for us to actually elevate. We went through the baptism of fire. We explained it through the scriptures. We went through examples. And the second step in order to elevate our minds, ourselves, our minds, is to crucify the flesh, to crucify ourselves, to crucify the ego, to kill it, to slay it, just like we were slaying a lot of these animals, cows, and sheep's, goats on the bronze altar, right? That was the idea, to crucify the lower part of ourselves, So 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 10.
This one's pretty deep. 2 Corinthians 4 and 10. Always bearing about in the body of the dying of Adonai Yeshua, that the life also of Yeshua might be made manifest in our body.
You see, bro, always bearing about in the body the dying of the Lord. You see, in the body, meaning in the flesh, meaning what? That the things that Christ went through, he said what? He even says, like, listen, I did all these things, but when I ascend, when I elevate to the Father, when I go back to source, you are gonna do the same thing, right? But not only the good things, also, the same crucifixion, the same suffering, the same baptism of fire, the same crucifixion of the flesh. We are doing the same thing as we speak today. This is why we're here. This is why our enemies are on top of us, right? This is why we are under invasion still, bro. Because we are crucified just like Christ was crucified, just like he died, just like he suffered. The same things we are going through today, collectively as a nation. Just like collectively as a nation, the entire nation of Israel created the cross all around the tabernacle, all around what? The mind of God, the tabernacle of Moses, which inside the tabernacle has what? The Ark of the Covenant. And inside the covenant, you have what? The laws of the laws of the Mosai, the two tablets, right? With the two parts of your brain, left hemisphere and right hemisphere. which is, the logical part, and the artistic, side, which is, more in depth. I don't know, Jisha, you want to expound on that? If you had anything else, bring it out. But basically, that's basically what it is. Like the two laws, the tablets of the law within the Ark of the Covenant inside is basically the two hemispheres of your brain that has to be balanced, in order, in between those hemisphere, in order to you for you to operate at full capacity right here on this planet. But obviously, that is not really happening because humanity is unbalanced by various factors, right? And so if humanity is unbalanced, guess who's unbalanced? The priests and kings of this planet, ourselves. We are being crucified as we speak, just like we read in Second Corinthians chapter 3 verse 10, always bearing about in the body the dying of the Lord, Yeshua, the dying of the Lord, the dying of the flesh, the crucifixion of the flesh, the slaying of the ego, the slaying of the pride, the slaying of the lust, bro. It's all the battle. I battle with it. Many brothers battle with it. Many other brothers are going through various battles, various different battles. Why? Because fires are not the same for everybody else. Everybody has their own fire level of fire, so on and so forth. Everybody goes through the ulu, the lul, which is the terror of night, which is a staircase, the winding stair, the shaft or enclosed space with the steps or ladder. Everybody's in a different step. You might be on a step 2. Some other brother might be on a step 7. Some other brother might be on step 50. Reaching to the end goal, which is the enlightenment, the illumination of the pineal gland, the reawakening of the man, the inner man. That's the whole concept behind the tabernacle, right? Let me see. I can do this real quick. Yeah, you see, so that's and basically that's basically where Quana copied that thing. You see that? I don't know if you
Yeah.
brothers can. Quana has this cover picture. He copied it from here. You know what I'm saying? But he claims he learned it from the Mosai, when in fact you brothers can go to his cover picture and he has the same picture. But anyway, so yeah, so that's basically it. You see that? So all of that, it has to do the internal self,
I
like the
put
whole
that
concept
on
behind it.
I put that on Facebook a while back. It has the table of showbread, the table of incense. Those are things that are not allowed in modern society. The table of showbread and the table of incense.
Right, right, man. So yeah, so that's basically ourselves. We are that cross, bro. We are that cross. We all are being crucified. All the 12 tribes. You see that? Ephraim, Manasseh, Benjamin, all the tribes. See, on the four corners of the earth. This is why, there were three groups of tribes established themselves on the west, three tribes on the south, three tribes on the north, and three tribes on the east, symbolizing what? That our people are gonna be in the four corners of the earth: east, west, south, and north. See, which creates the cross, which creates the Q, the mind of God, the holy of holies, the ark of the covenant, in which the laws are inside. They're inside, right there. See, they're inside. So all the laws are in our minds today. See, this is why we are leading ourselves. We're leading humanity and even ourselves to what? To the second covenant. And the second covenant is what? The importation of downloads of information within ourselves by the spirit of truth. Nobody should be able to teach nobody else anymore when that comes, right? Obviously, it hasn't come yet. This is why we still have to, open the ark, and this is why we're still being crucified, right? So, that's let me see, where are we? So yeah, so that's part of the third step, which is to renew, to resurrect, to create new. Colossians chapter 2 verse 12, bro. If you have that, Colossians chapter 2 verse 12. So yeah, so we're basically breaking down the third step on how to elevate our minds, how to elevate ourselves, and so on and so forth. So
Colossians chapter 2, verse 12. buried with him in immersion, wherein also ye are risen with him through the faith of the operation of Elohim, who hath raised him from the dead.
You see that? Bro, that scripture is fire, man. Let me see. Um, Colossians 2:12. Colossians 12. Yeah, it says buried with him in baptism. What baptism? The baptism of fire. We read that earlier, right? Just like John the Baptist said in the book of John, chapter 19:19. He said, "Listen, there's another one. There's another priest that comes, and he's gonna baptize you with the Holy Ghost, and then with the fire, the baptism of fire." So that's exactly what we read in Colossians chapter 2, verse 12. It says, buried with him in baptism, right? All of us, all the 12 tribes, right? All the cross, ourselves, bearing, buried with him in baptism, which is the baptism of fire, wherein also ye are risen. You are resurrected. You are renewed. You see that? The third step of elevating, to be renewed, right? So obviously you cannot be renewed unless you pass through the fire, right? Just like ashes, fire, burned up, destroyed in order to lead. Ash, fire. That's basically what the word fire means in the Hebrew. You are destroying in order to lead. So that's what fire does, to purify ourselves. Wherein also ye are risen with him through the faith of the operation of God, who had raised him from the dead. You see, he was raised from the dead. He resurrected, literally, like in physical form. Obviously, when he resurrected in his heavenly body, right? Just like all of us desire to be clothed with the angelic bodies that we once had back in ancient times, way before this planet and this galaxy was even created. We're not from this plane, bro. At least I don't feel. Go ahead, bro.
Slacky, I got to step away for a minute. I'm still listening, but I can't read for a little bit.
Oh, that's fine, man. We're almost done anyway. But thank you for reading, brother. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks. So yeah, so yeah, man. So that's basically we are buried with him in baptism. Colossians chapter 2, verse 12. The baptism is that baptism of fire, and we know that fire. What does fire do? Fire purifies. So from there we're gonna go to 2 Peter's 1:19. I'm gonna read 2 Peter's chapter 1, verse 19. It says, we have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place. You see, a light that shineth in a dark place. And what is darkness? Choshek, which means what? Misery and destruction, right? So this light is shining in choshek, in the darkness, in that misery and the destruction, the death, the dying of ourselves, right? The slaying of the man, of the ego, the carnal man, ourselves, the lustful man, ourselves, bro. That's what we're doing. We are, that's basically what Christ had to come in, to shine that light unto ourselves, until the day dawn, right? Dawn means basically, it's between the darkness and the morning, when it's my bad, until the day dawn, meaning the darkening. You have the evening and it starts getting dark, but there's still light in it. Well, that's basically what it is, until the day dawn and the day star arises in your heart. You see the day, the light, the sun, like the shining sun, basically the awakening of your soul, of your mind, the inner man, the lighting, the shining of the menorah inside of the temple, which illuminates the holy place right before the priest goes into the holy place, right? The Holy of Holies. So until the day dawn and the day star rising in your hearts. You see that? So it's part of the resurrection. It's part of the reawakening, or the renewing of the inner man. Revelations. Let's see. Ephesians 1:18, and then we're gonna close it out with that. Maybe another scripture in a minute. The book of Ephesians chapter 1, verse 18, it says, The eyes of your understanding be enlightened. You see, the eyes of your understanding be enlightened. Obviously, we cannot be enlightened, uh, uh, before us being put through the fire, before us slaying the outside man, the ego man, the fleshy man, the carnal man. We can't, find this enlightenment unless we go through the darkness, unless we go to the Hoshek, the misery, the destruction, unless we go to, the iron, the furnace of iron, which is the oppression, right? Unless, and while we go through all of that, we are chosen, just like we read in Isaiah 48, verse 10, chosen, which is Hebrews H 97:7, which means bahar, to try, to select, to chose, to join, to require. All that fire of baptism is required in order for us to be joined back to the Father, back to the source, right? And in that furnace of adversity, furnace of iron, in that darkness, in that terror of night, that's where we are chosen, right? The terror of night, Psalms 91 verse 5, H 3883, which is terror of night, Lul, which is the staircase or the ladder that leads us to those upper chambers of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We went through all of that already. So that's the second step, and the third step is the renewing, the resurrection of the mind, the awakening of the inner man. Ephesians chapter 1 verse 18, it says, "The eyes of your understanding be enlightened, that ye may know what is the hope of his calling, and what the riches of the glory of his inheritance in the saints." You see, so we went through all those steps: the fire of baptism, the baptism of fire, the crucifying of ourselves, just like all the 12 tribes went through. Right? We were crucified ourselves with Christ. We were slayed all throughout the ages in slavery, this and that and the third. So on and so forth. So we're still being crucified. This is the last process, the seventh step that we're gonna go through. Just like we read in Psalms 12:6. As a matter of fact, let's go there real quick. Psalms 12:6, in which tells you that we are being put through the seven furnace of adversity, which is the seven captivities, right? Uh, all right, Psalms 12 verse 6. The words of the Lord are pure words, a silver tried in the furnace of earth, purified 7 times. You see, so 7 times we've been put through the fire in this furnace of adversity, in which we are being purged and purified and refined, all of us together, just like we read in Isaiah 53 verse 8, in which our nation was crucified. Literally, humans, we were the literal sacrifice by the Most High, crucified for the nation, basically. So, that's what I got. The whole idea behind. Oh, hold on. Let me see. Where's it? Okay, hold on. Hold on. See? Oh, hold on. Right there. You see? So the word I.N.R.I is basically Yeshua, King of the Jews, right? Or Yeshua of Nazareth, King of the Jews, right? Which we broke it down in the esoteric meaning. The esoteric meaning behind I.N.R.I is basically igne, igne, the E, igne, renovatur, which is renovation, to renew, to resurrect, to awaken, and natura, natura, or nature. Our nature is being resurrected through the fire, ignition, ignite, igne, right? Igne, natura, my bad. Let's see. Igne natura renovatum integra. See, right there. So all of that has to do with the 3 levels or the 3 steps in order for us to attain the enlightenment within ourselves, or the reawakening, or the renovation, renovatur, of ourselves, of the pineal gland, the enlightenment of it, right? That's why many people are asleep, because they're still asleep in their dogmas, bro. They can't even tap into the source, or whatever. Now, I'm not judging anybody, bro, because nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not there. Nobody's there yet. But brothers have to understand these concepts to help us elevate our mind, ourselves, and become, you know, uh, the teachers of light, the light bearers unto our nation. We are the Illuminati, right? We are the illuminated ones, right? Isn't that what the scripture says, right? That we are the illuminated ones. Check this out. It says, Baruch chapter 4, verse 2, it says, Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated. See, that thou mayest be illuminated. So there is an illumination that takes place once we go through the three steps in order to elevate, just like Christ elevated. Remember, he went through the fire, he got crucified, meaning he killed his man, he sacrificed his body, right? And then after that, after him being put through the fire and killing himself and slaying the ego man, the carnal man, and this terrestrial plane, he died. He was put in darkness, in Hoshek, right? The darkness, the mystery, the destruction. And then after that, he revived, he resurrected. So just like we read in various scriptures that we have to resurrect just like Christ did, meaning reawaken, to renew. So the renovation of ourselves, the transformation from within us, does not happen just like that, bro. It's a process. You gotta go through the fire. You gotta go through the darkness, the shadow of darkness, the valley of shadow of darkness, the valley of shadow of death. We all have to go through that. We have to die. We all have to die to the self, to the man, to this carnal terrestrial self and mindset that we all have. So that's basically what I had. I hope brothers understood and follow the concept or the teaching that I brought out, and I pray for you, brothers. But yeah, man, shalom. I hope, yeah, again, you brothers took notes and you guys were edified. Right. Saturn's cube. Anyway, Shalom Yashra, welcome to the live. I'm gonna share the link. Anybody else that wanna talk, come into the live and share. You're more than welcome. I hope you brothers were edified again. It was a beautiful lesson that I prepared. I hope you guys understood those three concepts of the three baptisms in which Christ was baptized. Which is the baptism of fire, the baptism of crucifying the self or the man, and the resurrection, right? Which all pertains to ourselves, the inner man being awakened, being put through the fire, being put through the darkness, in order for us to elevate or grow or blossom like the flower or the seed on the ground when that seed is put in darkness. So that's basically what I wanted to teach, wanted to bring out. I'm gonna share the link. Any brothers that want to come in later on or now, otherwise I'm gonna sign out. I don't know what Vega is.
So why are you film?
Yishai, man, shalom, man.
Thank you for having me on.
No, thanks for coming in, bro. Thanks for reading, man. I really appreciate it. You helped me a lot. Did you understand the lesson, bro? You follow or no?
Oh yeah, I understand it.
Right.
We have to immerse ourselves in the spirit, and without doing that, or without going through tribulations, it's impossible. You cannot harden steel without putting a flame to it.
Yeah, man. Go
You
ahead.
can't get a rocking without putting it through a tumbler. I don't know. Scriptures explained it perfectly. I don't have any really words that can beat it.
Right.
It's like you said when class first started, when you get spankings or punished from your parents, it's it's to make you better, to strengthen your spirit. And like you said, 7 times we've been through captivities. Uh, I I find it strange, but all my life I told people that I was born on this earth 7 times. This is my seventh lifetime on this in this realm, and nobody understood what I was saying. And I didn't even really understand what I was saying until now. Now it makes total sense. Hello? Am I the only one on here? It goes to show everything goes through a death and a rebirth. Every day is born again. We might still be alive to experience it, but every day and every night we go through a death and a rebirth. What happened? Did he get dropped? Anyways, shalom Israel. Yasharal. I hope you all have enlightenment, awakening. We all go through some type of tribulation. Even this battle with the Canaanites wakes people up, brings people to the truth and to the great awakening. Shalom, everybody. Have a nice evening.